are interested in writing their books, tell us a little bit how you started on that path.
Yes, so I have a friend who's a publisher, and she was looking for an editor. This was back in, I believe, 2016, and I did a sample edit for her, and she really liked it. She thought it was helpful. She thought the suggestions that I made really enhanced her work. So she started referring me to her publishing clients. So I had a steady stream of clients coming from her business and social media. So I decided to launch Love for Words. And that was launched in I think it was 2016. So I've been doing it since then. I primarily work with Black authors to make sure that our stories are being told accurately, with the pride that we deserve and the love and respect that they should be told, how we want them to be told. Usually the projects that I work on are nonfiction. So I'm working with people who are writing about their life experience, who are writing about traumatic experiences or lessons that they've learned. And their goal really is to inspire other people based on what they have been through. So it's my honor to be able to work with authors during the process. I'm helping them bring their words to life, helping them make the manuscript succinct and make sure that it's entertaining, that it's informational, educational, and meets all of the goals of the author. However, the most important part or the most important element of the piece is, of course, the audience. So I'm also there to make sure that the author is able to resonate with the audience and captivate the audience so that readers, are encouraged to finish the book, and there's no reason for them to, decide that they don't want to finish it. So just making sure that it sounds good, it makes sense. And again, that the ideal reader would be interested in the book. So in addition to, of course, the editing piece, I'm really there to be someone who offers words of encouragement and also guidance on the journey. As a self-published author, I know what it's like to go through the process. So I also pull on my own experiences when I'm working with clients who are on my roster.
All right, I love that. And something that I read about you in an article, and I'm going to read the quote and I want you to respond because it is primarily what you just stated here. And what I mean by that is making sure that the people of color voices are true to who they really are. And so you have a quote here. It says, in a turbulent world such as ours, where racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia continuously rear their ugly heads, community becomes increasingly important. Thankfully, people like Polland has stated, seek to make big strides to provide exactly that. And so how is it that you make sure that people of color can stay true to writing stories or telling their stories their way? How do you help them in that process? And here's why I asked that question. I remember when I was writing my dissertation, and when in the committee, someone made a comment about making the voice a little softer. And so thankfully, I had a young scholar who was on the committee, and what she said is, this is how we talk. This is the way we think. This is where we sit as Black women in this story. And so why would she betray that? Mm-hmm. So speak to me, how do you partner with people to make sure that the voice stay authentically true to who they are as Black people?
Oh, for sure. So it really starts with, of course, maintaining their voice. That's the most important part. So, of course, even within the Black community, there's different types of Black people. There's a variety and diversity of us as well. And we do code switch and we do use different vernacular and languages. There's patois, there's, Ebonics, African-American vernacular. There's so many different elements. So just because I come across a word or a language or dialect that I don't know or that I'm not familiar with doesn't give me the right to change it. And unfortunately, I've worked with clients who have worked with white editors who don't understand the dialects within our community. So they're rewriting it in standard English versus leaving the particular dialect because the author chose that language specifically to resonate with a certain audience. So if you rewrite it, then you're going to lose your core audience or your target market. So I'm really there not to rewrite the story, but bring it to life. So I did edit a book that had patois. So I connected with the author just to get some meaning behind it, but also, of course, there's an internet and Googling different resources to see what it means. Again, instead of just saying, oh, well, I don't know what that means, and let's just change this to English, it's really about being sensitive to the author and their audience and who they're looking to connect with, instead of just putting in what I want in there, because it's not my book. The book belongs to the author. So it's primarily being humble enough to say, okay, I may not choose this language for a book that I would write, or this I may not prefer to read, or I might not be a part of their target market, but I understand that and I respect that. And because I know that this material will stay in here, but I'm here to make it the best it can be without without changing the story, and also not like inserting my opinion and my perspective on the story that they choose to tell.
Well, that must be challenging, right?
That's, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because if they present to you it in one way, you may think, okay, so we should maybe word it this way,
Mhm.
right? How does that exchange go most of the time with you? Do they take your advice, or do you just say, okay, let us just keep this here because it's true to you as the writer?
Yeah, most of the time they do accept the feedback that I have, because I have a mixture of, I'll either ask a question for them to answer, or I will make a suggestion for them to consider, or a recommendation. Either I'll say, maybe try a different word in this sentence, or the sentence doesn't read clear as it's written. I would
Mhm.
recommend rewriting it. Or I might give an example of, okay, the way it's written was confusing for me. It might confuse your reader. Here's what I would recommend. So again, it's really about empowering the author to make those decisions, and not going in and making changes just because I'm the editor and just because I want to. So as an editor, it's important to, if you're going to edit or revise, you have to have an appropriate reason. So it's not just a
Mhm.
subjective, I don't like this word, or um, yeah, you shouldn't make changes just because you want to. You need to have a professional reason to back it up. So if I make a suggestion, I might explain, again, this is confusing to your reader, or I think you should give more to your reader because you might lose them here, or you've already shared this reveal 2 chapters ago and you have it again. You don't want your reader to be confused. So take a look at that and decide where you want to leave that reveal. So things like that. So again, it really just comes down to having that open feedback and being honest with them. But at the end of the day, the book belongs to the author. So I may make a suggestion that I think is really great, and I do think that it's going to enhance their manuscript.